Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Evidence, the podcast where we dive deep into true crime cases, uncovering the facts and exploring the unanswered questions that keep us coming back for more. I'm your host, Marv, and I want to thank you for joining me today. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can find links to my PayPal and Cash App in the description. Now, let's get into today's topic.
Breaking all the patterns, facts and theories, clues and controversy. Join the journey, uncovering the mystery. This is Beyond the Evidence, where justice prevails, with Marv leading the way. Truth never fails. Now get ready for this live stream. Super chat, highlight your message. Don't fall victim to the irrelevance. Hit that like, share, subscribe to Marv's Beyond the Evidence.
Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm back. Got lots of things planned for this week and coming up. But tonight, well, I would say a lot of days this week and coming forward, we're going to start highlighting or profiling missing persons cases. I have some murder cases out of Kokomo, Indiana that I'll be doing and other states. But we're going to try to put a video out, whether it's live like I am now or pre-recorded, of some missing persons. So I'm only allowed to put out 3 things a day on YouTube. Okay. That includes a video, do a live, and any community posts. So after 3, you will not get notified. So if I get really ambitious here and I put out more than 3, just make sure you've got that notification pressed, and we will go from there. There's one thing I have to do here real quick before we get started. So just bear with me. I'll turn off my volume. Where is it? Okay, there we go. Okay, Gibble, I have made you, or I'll be frank, I have made you a moderator for me. So just to let you know. All right. Misty Free Spirit, hello. Jill, nice to see you. Troublemakers, 2 of my favorite ladies, Joni and Missy. They were so nice and let me stay with them while I was in Kokomo. I appreciate that. True Crime with Frank Meister, how are ya? I'll be Frank's here. Aurora, nice to see ya. And Jill, yep, we got you. Okay, so I'm getting a little fancy. I'm going to add this to the stage and make it big so I can see it. All right. So Jamie has been missing a very long time. We did do a prior live stream with his sister. He went missing on June 10th, 2021 out of Booneville, Arkansas, and left home after an argument with family. Vehicle was found abandoned. He's diabetic and does not have his needed meds with him. There's the contact information. So, it started with a simple argument, you guys, and ended in a mystery that haunted Arkansas for years. On a summer night in 2021, Jamie Valdez drove off after a disagreement with his wife, taking nothing but some clothes, a little cash, and a car registered in her name. Days later, his SUV was found deep in the woods, abandoned on a dirt road miles from anywhere. The keys were gone, so was Jamie. And scrawled in the dust on the back window, a chilling message: "Help me. He is near." What happened to Jamie Valdez? Was he hiding or hunted? Jamie was a 47-year-old man from Booneville, Arkansas, a small town nestled in the lush valley between the Ozarks, and I'm not going to get this right, Ouachita Mountains. Jamie was known to be kind-hearted and devoted to his family. His sister, who is his biggest supporter and fights every day to have Jamie found, described him as very family-oriented, kind, loving, happy, a happy-go-lucky, loves to laugh type of person. He had a daughter from a previous relationship who lived nearby in Ozark, Arkansas, and he never went long without talking to her or other close family members. Jamie was a father, a brother, and a husband who had fought hard for a fresh start. He had just celebrated over 1 year of sobriety, a milestone that transformed his life. In that year, Jamie lost weight, got healthier, and learned to manage his type 1 diabetes responsibly. In fact, sobriety was so important to Jamie and his longtime girlfriend, Anna, that she told him she wouldn't marry him until he stayed clean for a year. He succeeded. And in May of 2021, Jamie married Anna, his partner of several years, after achieving that goal. Life was looking up for Jamie until everything suddenly unraveled. Those of you who are in here, do you remember Jamie's story? Especially with the message, "Help me, he is near," on the window, the back window of the car? I'll be showing that in a little bit. Despite these positive changes, not everything was perfect. The newlyweds had just moved from Texas to Booneville, Arkansas at the start of June of 2021, living temporarily with Anna's mother as they got settled. The stress of the move and other factors weighed on their young marriage. By early June, their relationship was already on the rocks. Still, Jamie was determined to make things work. He was described by loved ones as a resilient, caring man who had turned his life around for the better. He was also a devoted father to a teenage daughter from a prior relationship. Jamie adored his daughter and stayed in touch with her regularly. In fact, families say that during this time, he was planning to visit to see her in the Ozark area, excited to reconnect after the recent move. With a new marriage, a year of sobriety, and improved health, Jamie had every reason to look forward to the future. This makes what happened next all the more baffling and heartbreaking. So I put a picture here of Anna and Jamie, and I did a little timeline for everyone because this timeline is very important in Jamie's case. June 9th, 2021, an argument and a fateful decision. Tensions came to a head on the night of June 9th. Jamie and Anna got into a heated argument, reportedly sparked when Anna picked up an extra shift at work, among other marital strains. Upset, Jamie stormed out of the house that evening. He even showed up at Anna's workplace later that night, attempting to continue the discussion, but it only escalated into another scene. After his confrontation, Jamie decided to leave for a while to cool off. He went back home briefly and hastily packed a bag of clothes, even taking about $600 in cash from his mother-in-law's home, according to some reports, and told family he was heading into the Ozark Mountains to visit his teenage daughter and clear his head. Crucially, Jamie did not take his insulin or diabetes medication with him when he left, a worrying sign, since without it, he could not manage his type 1 diabetes for long. You've all watched me. You know that I have diabetes. Monitoring your blood sugars and taking your medication is so very important to a diabetic. And he was on the right track. He was monitoring it. He was taking everything he needed to, but he didn't take his medicine at this time. Sometime late that night, Jamie drove off in his gray 2010 Chevy Equinox and vanished into the darkness, leaving his family anxious, but hoping he just needed a shorter breather. Mid-June 2021, there was a possible sightings in the Ozark. In the days immediately following Jamie's departure, there were murmurings that he'd been seen alive and well. Though these accounts remain unconfirmed and somewhat muddled, a former co-worker of Jamie's reported seeing him in the town of Ozark, Arkansas, about 30 miles north of Booneville, a few days after he left home. According to the co-worker's account, she ran into Jamie by chance and even invited him over to her house for dinner with her family. Jamie allegedly accepted the dinner invitation and mentioned that he planned to return home soon to patch things up with Anna. This friendly encounter said to have occurred around June 11th or 12th. This would be the last known sighting of Jamie Valdez. After that dinner, Jamie never showed up to reconcile with his wife as he had intended, and he was never seen by anyone in the community again. Note, because the exact dates are fuzzy, the co-worker wasn't certain of the day. Authorities later had trouble pinning down the exact timeline. What we know is Jamie was alive at least a few days after he left, but something happened after that meeting in Ozark that remains a mystery. Here are the pictures, the help me, he is near. Also a picture of his car that was tampered with. June 19th, 2021, Jamie's SUV is discovered abandoned. 10 days after Jamie walked out, a startling discovery brought new urgency to the case. On June 19th, Jamie's Chevy Equinox was found abandoned in a rural area of Logan County. The location was near a secluded swimming hole in the community of Sugar Grove, roughly 10 miles southeast of Booneville, an area Jamie was somewhat familiar with. It was coincidentally not far from a home his family once lived in. A friend of Jamie's, who happened to also be Anna's boss, was out in that area and spotted the vehicle, recognizing it as Jamie's and alerting authorities. The scene at the SUV was deeply troubling. The vehicle was filthy, covered in mud and dust as it had been sitting there for days. The driver's seat was pulled forward to the closest position. I'm going to skip slides here for a minute because I'm going to go back one. Jamie was a very tall man. He would not drive with that car seat in the closest position. As I said, the driver's seat was pulled forward to the closest position, far closer than 5'10" Jamie would normally need it, suggesting that either someone much shorter had driven it or it had been moved for an unknown reason. Now I can tell you I'm 5'4", so I have it pretty much as close as you can get. The keys were nowhere to be found, and the car appeared to have been tampered with mechanically. Some parts under the hood were reportedly dismantled or removed, as if someone had stripped the vehicle for components while it sat abandoned. Perhaps the most eerie find was on the back window. In the fine layer of dust on the glass, someone had traced a cryptic message. "Help me. He is near." Late June 2021, intensive search efforts with the discovery of Jamie's abandoned vehicle, the Booneville Police Department, and volunteer searchers sprang into action. Extensive searches were conducted in the area around the SUV. Officers, sheriff's deputies, and local volunteers combed the woods, fields, and back roads near where the Equinox was found, looking for any sign of Jamie. Tracking dogs were brought in to sniff the area, and a dive team was deployed to search nearby bodies of water, since the car was found near a creek and a popular swimming hole. They scoured a wide radius around the vehicle, both on land and in the water, hoping to find a clue, a piece of clothing, footprints, a phone, anything. Despite these exhaustive efforts, no trace of Jamie was found beyond what had already turned up. The searches in June 2021 yielded few clues. Jamie was not in the water, not hiding in the woods, and there were no obvious signs of a struggle, like blood or damage at the car site. It was as if he had simply vanished after his SUV was left there. Investigators were baffled, and the family's nightmare had truly begun. September of 2024, a new lead from the digital trail. For more than 3 years, Jamie's loved ones and law enforcement continue to chase leads and plead for information. Then in late 2024, a surprising discovery injected new hope into this cold case. Authorities finally obtained data from Jamie's Apple iCloud account related to his iPhone location. They learned that the last ping location of Jamie's phone in June of 2021 was not at the site where the SUV was found, but a spot a few miles away. This location was in a remote, heavily wooded part of Logan County, and notably, it was underwater at the time of Jamie's disappearance. In other words, around mid-June 2021, Jamie's phone last connected to the network from an area near a river that was flooded due to heavy rains that summer. As soon as this information came to light in 2024, search teams returned to that area to investigate, hoping that the receded waters might reveal evidence. Another thorough search was conducted at the new location, indicated by the phone data. Cadaver dogs and ground teams worked the area, but frustratingly, nothing definitive was found. The discovery of the phone's location so long after the fact raises as many questions as answers. Did someone dispose of Jamie's phone in the river? Was Jamie himself near the river on the night he disappeared? This clue, while important, has yet to solve the case. It did, however, confirm that the investigation is active and ongoing, even years later. As of today, Jamie Valdez remains missing, and his case remains unsolved. The timeline of that June 2021 week is riddled with gaps and uncertainties. Gaps that Jamie's family and investigators are desperate to fill. Those who were involved in Jamie's life during his final days have given conflicting accounts and spotty memories of events, which has turned the search for truth into a bizarre puzzle with too few pieces. What do we know? What we do know is that Jamie's sudden disappearance is highly suspicious. Foul play is strongly suspected. In the months and years after Jamie went missing, all kinds of rumors have circulated around Booneville about what might have happened to him. Some rumors were so dark and disturbing that Jamie's family can hardly bear to repeat them. And while most turn out to be false leads, some theories have not been ruled out. The lack of concrete answers, combined with the strange evidence of the abandoned SUV, leads those who love Jamie to a painful conclusion. Someone out there knows what happened to him. As his sister Sean said, the family believes there is likely foul play involved in Jamie's disappearance. Through it all, Jamie's loved ones have never given up hope of finding him. Nearly 4 years have passed, but his family misses him tremendously and continues to fight for answers. Let me fix this. Okay. As we said, I'm not going to read through all of this because a lot of this I have already gone over. Okay. But we know that Jamie had an argument with his wife, Anna. And he had only married her 1 month prior to his disappearance. So the argument was over her picking up extra work shifts. And that was supposed to be their day off together. So that is why Jamie left their home on Carefree Lane in Booneville. According to Booneville Police Report, case number, and I have it in here, 21-00261, he drove away in a silver 2010 Chevy Equinox, and it was registered to his wife. Um, and this talks about the dinner that he had with friends. By June 17, 2021, Jamie's family and friends could no longer reach him at all, which was alarming given that Jamie was a devoted father who usually stayed in touch with his daughter and relatives. Um, when Jamie failed to return or contact anyone for over a week, Anna contacted authorities. She reported her husband missing on June 20th, 2021. Now, if you had an argument with your loved one, your spouse, significant other, and he left and didn't return within 24 to 48 hours, wouldn't you be calling the police then to find out what happened? Why wait a week to report him missing? So Jamie is described as 5'9", 5'10", and about 200 to 220 pounds with brown hair and brown eyes. Family members immediately feared that something was very wrong, as it was out of character for Jamie to abandon his family and responsibilities without any word. So that is telling, very telling. The wife wasn't concerned. She didn't care. She didn't report him missing for a week. However, family and friends were concerned right away when he couldn't be reached. So his Equinox was found off a remote dirt path, Dry Creek Road, near the unincorporated community of Sugar Grove. And the person that found the car was his wife's boss. How suspicious to me. You know, what a quinky dink is what I call it. You have an argument with the wife. She doesn't report you missing for over a week, and her boss finds his vehicle. Something doesn't add up. And it said that he came across the SUV by chance while visiting a family cemetery in the area. Frank Meister says this is a bad area. He knows it. So this location is outside the city jurisdiction, but BPD took the lead in the investigation since they had taken the initial missing person report. So when it comes to the cryptic message on the back window that said, "Help me, he is near," this was alarming at the beginning, but they found out that it was not written by Jamie at all, but by passerbys. And it happened to be some boys that just decided they were going to write this cryptic message in the dirt on the car without knowing the situation. So that lead was false. The SUV was discovered unlocked with the keys missing. Okay. So it had been left unable to start. The cell phone was also not inside the car and has never been recovered. And before some of you ask, his phone could not be tracked via GPS since he only used it with Wi-Fi. and had no active cell service plan. Ooh. Now, remember, I told you the driver's seat was pushed as far forward on its track, much closer to the steering wheel than a 5 foot 10-inch man would have it. And this was another raised suspicion that somebody shorter had drove the vehicle and possibly Jamie to this area. So the mechanical issues with the Equinox had not existed before, suggesting someone might have sabotaged the car or that it had been driven roughly off-road, which would make sense because, like they said, his phone pinged a few miles down the road. And to me, that meant somebody drove him to that area and then somebody drove it back to where the car was found and left it there. Some of Jamie's personal belongings were found strewn about. Searchers recovered his insurance card lying on the ground outside the vehicle, and some clothing was missing from the car. Family noted that a few articles of his clothing he'd taken were not found in the vehicle. Loose change was also reportedly found on the ground nearby. Missing as well was a .40 caliber Glock handgun that Jamie's wife had recently bought for him. That firearm was not in the vehicle or at home, and its whereabouts remain unknown. As I said, extensive searches have been done to try to locate Jamie. I'm going to show you here a little bit later what areas somebody can try to help search. This family needs help and volunteers to get out there and search these areas. As I said, no blood, no footprints leading away, and no indication of where he went. The vehicle was towed as evidence, though family members later expressed frustration that law enforcement did not immediately perform a thorough forensic examination of the car, meaning they didn't look for fingerprints, they didn't look for DNA, and they released the car back to Jamie's wife, Anna. Yep, it is. So the discovery of the abandoned SUV and the cryptic "help me" message initially fueled speculation that Jamie had met with foul play in that area. However, as investigators pieced together a timeline, a surprising twist emerged. The ominous window message turned out to be a hoax. According to the Logan County Sheriff's Office, a group of 4 local individuals came forward acknowledging they had encountered the park Equinox on June 17th, 2021, a couple of days before the vehicle was officially found. These witnesses admitted that they scribbled the "he is near, help me" phrase as a prank, not realizing the vehicle was tied to a missing person case. 2 of the people in this group said that when they first saw the SUV on the 17th, it was actually running with someone sitting in the driver's seat. But when they passed by again a few hours later, the engine was off and the person was gone. Finding the car abandoned at that point, they jokingly wrote the creepy message on the back window and left. By the time the police examined the vehicle days later, rain had washed away the writing, but Jamie's wife had fortunately snapped a photo of it beforehand. This revelation significantly changed the interpretation of that clue. It meant Jamie himself likely did not write a plea for help on his car. It also raised new questions. Who was the person sitting in Jamie's SUV on June 17th? Was it Jamie? And was he waiting for help? Or could it have been someone else driving his car? Investigators have not publicly identified who, if anyone, was in the vehicle on the 17th. The timeline suggests Jamie went missing from Booneville on June 9th or 10th, surfaced in Ozark on June 12th, and then his car, possibly with him, showed up 30 miles south in Sugar Grove by June 17th. How and why Jamie ended up in the remote location remains a mystery. One theory considered early on was that Jamie, distraught from the argument, might have been hiding out or camping in the area, particularly since his family has historical ties there. An old home of his family was not far from where the car was found. If he was there, his diabetes could have caused him to become disoriented or incapacitated without medication. However, the absence of his body or any sign of him, despite intensive searches, makes it unclear if he ever wandered on foot from the car. Now remember, they also said they didn't find any footprints. Another troubling possibility is that Jamie encountered foul play. For instance, someone else could have been with him or following him, leading to an altercation. The fact that the car's engine had been tampered with and his keys, phone, and gun were missing suggests potential interference by a second party. There were conflicting stories and lapses in memory from some witnesses involved, according to reports, which have complicated the investigation. Jamie's family strongly suspects that someone harmed him or did something nefarious. They point out that Jamie would never voluntarily go this long without contacting his teenage daughter or his loved ones. In interviews, they described him as generally responsible and caring despite past struggles. And note that even if he needed a short cooling off period after the argument, he would have returned or at least reached out by now. As time has passed, with no activity on Jamie's bank accounts or confirmed sightings, the likelihood of foul play is a growing concern. Authorities have not named any official suspects or persons of interest publicly, but they also have not ruled anything out. The case is classified as an endangered missing person due to the suspicious circumstances and Jamie's medical condition. The Booneville Police, in coordination with county deputies, continue to handle tips. As of the latest information, no arrests have been made, and Jamie's fate remains unknown. Jamie's disappearance has been the subject of numerous law enforcement bulletins, media reports, and community efforts. His case was logged in the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, NamUs, database shortly after he was reported missing. The NamUs entry notes that Jamie left his residence on 6/9/2021 after an argument and was officially reported missing on June 20th, 2021. His profile has been featured by national missing person organizations like the Charlie Project, which compiles details of the case and appeals for information. His Charlie Project page, for example, summarizes all the known facts, including the timeline from Booneville to Ozark to Sugar Grove, and reiterates that his family suspects foul play. Local news outlets extensively covered the story, especially in the months immediately following Jamie's disappearance. In August 2021, 5 News ran a segment titled Family Still Searching for Missing Logan County Man that highlighted the bizarre clue of the message on Jamie's SUV. Today in Fort Smith, a regional online news site published a detailed report on July 1st, 2021, outlining the sequence of events from the argument and Jamie leaving home to the car's discovery, and emphasized Jamie's health issues and the urgency to find him. These reports included the Booneville Police Department's contact information and urged the public to come forward with any leads. Another follow-up story in October of 2021 announced a candlelight vigil for Jamie on October 23rd, 2021. Friends, family, and community members gathered in Booneville to pray for his safe return and keep attention on his case. The vigil was covered by local media, reinforced that Jamie was still missing, and loved ones were desperate for answers. Jamie's case has also gained wider attention through social media and podcasts. Not only has his story been profiled on Beyond the Evans in the past, his family operates a Facebook group called Jamie Valdez Missing, where they share updates, memories, and pleas for information. The story has been discussed in true crime forums like Web Sleuths, on Reddit, where community members have analyzed the known facts and floated theories. All information there is public, though not officially verified. Remember that. In September 2022, The Vanished Podcast, a popular missing persons podcast, featured Jamie's case in episode 363. In that episode, the host highlights gaps in time, strange coincidences, conflicting stories, and very few concrete facts surrounding his disappearance. The podcast included interviews with family members, bringing national attention to the case, and again publicizing the Booneville Police tip line for any information. Another podcast, Missing Persons, episode 79, and various online articles have likewise profiled Jamie's baffling disappearance, keeping it in the public eye. As of 2025, Jamie remains missing. His case is still open and unsolved. No significant breakthroughs or discoveries have been announced publicly since the initial investigation, but law enforcement say they will follow any new leads. Jamie's family has not given up hope and continues to seek closure. They encourage anyone who might know something, even seemingly minor, small details from June 2021 in the Booneville, Ozark, Sugar Grove area, to contact authorities. The Booneville Police Department can be reached at 479-675-3508. Valdez's loved ones and supporters persist in spreading awareness on social platforms and through missing persons networks. They are determined to find out what happened to Jamie and bring him home, or at least to have answers and justice. So if you have any information about the disappearance of Jamie Valdez, no matter how small, contact the Booneville Police Department. Once again, you can call them at 479-675-3508, or you can email confidential tips to booneville.gov jamie.chief@outlook.com. You can also submit tips through the National Missing Persons Organization, like NamUs, or your local Crime Stoppers, if you wish to remain anonymous. All of this contact information has been put in the description of this video so that you can help share that. We need your help in Arkansas to search for Jamie. These areas still need to be searched. So, we've got 755 Dry Creek Road. You've got Sugar Grove up here. You've got Buck Ridge Shooting Range over here. And you have Dry Creek Wilderness. All of this needs to be searched. And in here is the last phone ping where his phone did ping. If you have any questions and you want to help search, contact Sean. The links for all of the medias that I put in here, all the podcasts and stuff is in the description of this video, along with the link for their family website that they started to bring awareness to Jamie's case. And then I put on here some tags and hashtags that you can use when reporting Jamie's case. First one I would use always is missing. Why is that? Missing has over 5 million in the hashtag, where missing person or missing case has a lot less. So I would use hashtag Jamie Valdez, hashtag missing person, hashtag unsolved mystery, hashtag Arkansas crime, hashtag true crime community, hashtag help me, he is near, hashtag where is Jamie Valdez, hashtag vanished, hashtag endangered missing, hashtag Booneville, Arkansas, hashtag justice for Jamie, hashtag missing in America, hashtag true crime TikTok, or hashtag the Vanished podcast, or hashtag NamUs. And then in my little slideshow here, I did put all the sources, which is NamUs, 5 News, the Vanished podcast, the Charlie Project, the Reddit discussion, but most importantly, the family's Facebook page, Jamie Valdez Missing. All of those are also in the description of the video. So, if you're in this area of Sugar Grove or wherever, and you can get a search party together, go and search. The family doesn't live right in that area. They cannot search all the time themselves. It's got to be planned and detailed to get them all together at one time in that location. But if you're there and you like to take walks, go search that area for this family. If you have any questions, contact the family Facebook page. You can also contact me. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions or get an answer for you. But most of all, please help Jamie's family get this video out to anybody in Arkansas that you may know, so that people can go and look for him. Share it out to other missing persons sites. don't just share it out to Arkansas either. Share it out to everybody in that area, other surrounding states. People may come on vacation in that area, and we want everybody to be made aware that there is a missing individual there. All right. Does anybody in the chat have any questions about Jamie's case? Yes, Frank Meister is familiar with that area. I live in, is that close, Mustang? I don't quite understand your question, Frank, so get with me and afterwards and I will I'll answer it for you. All right. Yes, Missing in America are fantastic for information. Share it with everybody that you know. So, for anyone that's never been or lived in Arkansas, I can tell you from experience from myself, living there back in the 90s, there's a lot of wilderness, and especially in the area of Sugar Grove. Right. So, that's why I'm asking people if you can get teams together, try to get 20, 30 people and do the line separated by arm length and go that way, go in a straight line, because when you only have a few people and you're trying to search, things get missed. Stephanie, he went missing in 2021. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me and listening to Jamie's story. Like I said, just help us share this information. If you're familiar with the area, know the area, get a search group together and go search. That's all we can ask. That's the only way we're going to find Jamie. And his family deserves some closure and peace of mind and having him back home with them. Thank you. And I'll be back maybe tomorrow and maybe Wednesday. Have a good night. Bye.